Okay, hi guys. So I'm just doing a video because I did not know the due date for this was yesterday and I'm running late on time and I don't, anyway. So I did my paper on Snow Country. So it's the story of a geisha. I'm gonna call her Ko because I can't say her full name. And then S is the guy that comes from Tokyo. He's a wealthy businessman. And he comes into the village that's up in the mountains. And on his train ride in, he is mesmerized by another male and female couple together. And he's mesmerized by the girl's clear voice and her caring for the sick man that she's taking care of. Upon coming to the village, he meets up with Koi again. He met her in his last visit, and now she's starting her practices as a geisha. But he still is using her as a companionship because he views her not as he views the other geishas that he's encountered with, and he asks her to find him another geisha, one that she finds to be a good geisha, a proper geisha. And she does what he asks, but he isn't a fan of her, sends her away, finds up a reason to leave her presence. And it starts this relationship between him and Koi where he talks to her about literature, dancing, what's going on, singing, musicals, and music, playing her instruments. And she's very discreet and private about her life and who she is, where he tries to know more information about her, but she doesn't really share that much. Then it turns into her showing up to his room unannounced one night after drinking, and she's intoxicated, but she's visibly fighting with herself internally, saying that she needs to go home, I have to go home, I can't stay. And she ends up staying. And then their relationship then turns into an intimate relationship and kind of a geisha form, but not the typical geisha form where they have their time together and then leave. It's more of a companionship along with the roles of a geisha. So this part of it Koi struggles with because she feels more feelings towards him than she does towards him. And it's an issue with her knowing that he's going to be leaving and she's going to be left here. And then the other part is he goes around and he talks to a few people to find out more about Koi because she's still so secretive about who she is and what she's doing. So he finds out that she became a geisha to help pay for medical bills for her friend that was the man on the train, because she feels a debt to this man's mother because of everything that she's done. And the mother always thought deep down the two of them should be married together, but Koi does not reciprocate those feelings towards him as he does. So he figures that out, and then she talks to him about it a little bit, but then she deflects him going into her past about talking about the diaries that she keeps, and he's in the diaries and how he should read them. So then she's still struggling with the aspect of him not actually being a relationship, but the role of a geisha and a client. So she'll demand for him to leave, and then when he says, okay, well, I'm going to leave tomorrow, then she's like, well, why would you do that? So finally it gets to the point where he has to leave. And while she's escorting him to the train to say goodbye to him, and as part of her geisha role, Yoko, the young girl that was on the train before with the sick man, comes running up to find her to tell her that the sick man wants to see her. He's basically gonna die. And Koi refuses to see him until he leaves and she says goodbye to him, where Yoko and the man are trying to convince her to go. So the man leaves, and then time lapse again where they don't see each other for a while, and he comes back again in the end of the summer, autumn time, where the insects are turning over and dying. And at that point, their relationship kind of is teetering towards faltering out also. So he comes, the man has passed away since then. And now Yoko, the girl that was in the shadows of taking care of this man, is now out in the inn working. Koi has taken on a 4-year contract of working as a geisha and paying off her debts and living with a family. And the man had promised that he'd come February 14th for a festival, but he didn't. And at this point, Koi's feelings towards him are more complicated, where she doesn't think that he understands how she feels about it or how it hurts her, where he can just come and go as he pleases, and she's stuck here waiting for him. And he has all the promise to come back and see her for this specific day, and doesn't come, doesn't contact her to say, hey, I'm not coming, nothing. So it's becoming a little bit more complicated and strenuous for him, because she's demanding more from him and showing up more unannounced, intoxicated, or like sending notes to him to be like, I may be back later. And it's affecting her role as a geisha in this village, because she'll sneak off from the parties that she's hired for to see him. So if there were rumors or whisperings about their affair and about how things really were between them. So with this new complication in their relationship, with her pushing him, it's causing him to look at Yoko, who is dismissive of him and doesn't care about him. He's tried to talk to her when she brought a note to him from Koi when she was at a party, and he asked her to come back to Tokyo with her because he didn't understand what she was still doing here with the man dead and no one there for her to care for. And all she kept on saying to him was, take care of Koi, take care of Koi. And he's like, well, I can't. Like, that's not my role in this relationship, and that's not what it is, but you can come back to Tokyo with me. And she just dismisses him. So that relationship is starting off the same as his relationship with Koi did. So it's almost like the relationship with Koi now is too complicated for him, and it's stagnant for him because she's pushing for more, but knowing that there can't be more, and it's a complication for her. So he's just pushing himself away and going to someone who was like her in the beginning of their relationship when it all started. So then the story ends with basically their relationship ending in flames because there was a fire in the village at a warehouse. And when they finally reached the site of the fire, they're standing there watching it, and Yoko falls from the raft, the topper levels, and she's dragged out unconscious. And Koi, who was so dismissive of her and everything because of the whole situation they were in with the other man, they have
say that again? I'm sorry.
Okay. They have she's pulling this girl out that she wanted nothing to do with, and it's kind of like that's the end of it for her and the man from Tokyo, because they're not going to go anywhere. And I kind of see Koi there now for that girl, taking care of her if she does survive the fire, because even though there was like this, let's say, unforeseen elephant between these two girls, they're there to take care of each other. It's kind of like a sibling thing, like, you know, you low-key like kind of hate your sibling, but you're always there for them no matter what, kind of thing. So it's almost like I wonder if it could be like a geisha code thing. I don't really know anything about. I don't know. The book doesn't really go a lot into the geisha code of conduct, but like it's just it's just an idea as I'm sitting here talking. But some of the conflicts in the story has to be about the scope of practice as a geisha, and like Koi's going over them with her affection towards this man, and him encouraging it with like coming back and only seeing her and only interacting with her and not going to these parties and like sitting around waiting for her and like allowing her to stay overnight and show up unannounced, intoxicated. She's bringing him to his house. So like she's stepping out of her scope and putting her reputation on the line for this man who just leaves and goes back to his family and then comes back when he wants to. So it's an internal conflict for Koi to deal with that when she was stuck into the line of being a geisha because she felt this personal debt to this family for this man, where she wanted to help pay for some of his bills, where she kind of despises him for that, because in the book she was talking about, well, if I wasn't a geisha, she's like, maybe I'd be a nurse or something else other than this. So it's kind of like a triangle, and every time the replacement is a man. So it's a triangle between Koi, Yoko, and the sick man, and then he passes away, and then it's a triangle between Koi, Yoko, and the man from Tokyo. So there's always a triangle of events between the two girls and a male character in it, and looking for affection and everything. The sick man wanted to see Koi and be around her on his deathbed, where Yoko was there taking care of him the whole time, while Koi was out having her affair and geisha work. And then in this instance, Koi's affection and wants and needs from the man from Tokyo causes him to drive towards Yoko and start to try to reach out to her, because she's uncomplicated and clean and clear and something different and new. So that's it.